Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 358th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So today we have a true diamond in the rough, where I'm not expecting too many people to be familiar with this self-titled one-and-done 1997 debut, because even though the Dynospectrum was made up of various very talented affiliates of the legendary alternative hip-hop label Rhymesayers, their breakout LP here as a collective flew a bit under the radar, resulting in their one and only official project as a crew, ultimately landing in the realm of cult classic. But that's not really something you can hold against the actual music or content. This underground supergroup was comprised of Swift, I Self Divine, Sab the Artist, aka Beyond, and Slug from Atmosphere, Deep Puddle Dynamics, and a number of other ventures. But this is actually one of those collectives where all of the members performed under an alias, with Swift as Mr. Genepool, Slug as Sep Sev Sev 2, Self Divine as Pat Jupa, and Sab the Artist as General Wound War, respectively. This was an act I initially pretty randomly stumbled on a few years back, where I believe I first found them through one of those similar artist sections you'll find on any given streaming service, and I was instantly enamored by the dope cover art and the unique group name. Plus, it came at a time where I was making a concerted effort to check out any old school LPs I'd never heard of, regardless of status, and in this case I was heavily rewarded straight away, as the Dynospectrum wisely hits you with one of its strongest beats right off the bat, and the ominous loop is done justice by these highly skilled and charismatic MCs. Keep in mind, I knew nothing about this crew or its roster when I initially gave their debut a listen, so even though I was already highly impressed with the lyrical abilities of the other members, I was totally won over the second I heard Slug's voice on the opening track, because this dude was already one of my personal favorites, which made me extremely excited to hear his many other verses on this LP, especially because I've always been such a huge fan of the way he writes and delivers his content, especially in these earlier days of his career, and that's also exemplified on Overcast, the debut studio LP from Atmosphere, which dropped in 1997, the same year as this debut, and also heavily featured Sab the Artist or Beyond, and in my opinion still remains one of the strongest projects from that act to this day. Slug may be my favorite performer here, but his verses wouldn't hit nearly as hard if they weren't bookended by these other talented rappers, and I feel like this vocal diversity and juxtaposition ends up providing the opportunity for a unique group chemistry, which gives everyone an equal opportunity to shine on the same level, while still letting them express and highlight their differences as MCs. It's kind of overkill to focus on a verse from every member here, as skilled as they all are, so I'm just going to share a couple chunks from the aforementioned opening track, which fittingly starts with Slug himself, or at least he takes the first verse after the dope little hook, which is delivered by Self Divine or Pat Juba, and kind of has a golden age feel, with 2 times for my people who react off this. In an act off the energy that we get with this. You can lose your mind off this. Feel this shit, on and on infinite. And then this mantra repeats before Slug takes the mic and says, "The taste is succulent, the mental supplements that I stuff into your thoughts, rushing in to add substance to the broth. Scientists try to break us down to comprehend the foundation. They race around trying to duplicate the sound. The advancement of these patterns are far past man's ability to grasp. Jams the attention span, blasts the previous conclusion. Sept pollutes when I break a track for self or make a guest intrusion. Fresh for you and fresh for suckers, fresh for all. When the metronome clicks, begin the Dynospectrum testable. Testicles is heavy, brain matter weighs a ton. Became accustomed to carrying weight and waiting for better days to come. And if they don't come, I'll get up and make some. And if they don't come, I'll get up and make some. Got a head full of letters trying to cut and paste them. A life of endeavors, I bet I die trying to chase them. Pacing in the basement, forth and back and forth, wearing out my soul on the concrete floor. I pet your brain power, take your focus off fetish for cocaine powder. Dynospec takes you by the neck from those who came south. The last part I want to share comes from Swift, aka Mr. Genepool, who kicks his memorable verse off rapping, "Yo, I chosen to join the fight against whack rap acts, lyrical gimmicks, and little political piglets who try to talk analytical with pitiful perspectives. To me, it's ineffective. Rappers want to get physical once they've been rejected. Realize life goes on. You don't get the connection. It goes mic to song. Right from wrong is what a lot of rappers made it to be, and lately been ruining the taste for all the real MCs. What I foresee is a fall for all the fabrication. Prepare when I give the final call, we take back the nation. She's been poisoned, a decreasing immunization. Showbiz brought the medicine, but I'll bring the vaccination. It's even got my boys in some terrible situations. I'm pacing. It'd be unbearable to see him as a patient. Leia, if you're lacing, I hope you use cyanide for some suicide to make it the last day you will ride. Through my neighborhood on a compact disc or cassette in all the latest Chevy models, from Blazers to Corvettes. And back to silhouettes where open tailgates, 9/8s, some out-of-state plates, out of town sure ain't got their mind straight. There may not be any guest appearances on this thing, but as for the forward-thinking production, that was completely handled by the other half of Atmosphere, Ant, who also took up an alias for this undertaking, creating all the beats here under the name Solomon Grundy. When it boils down to my overall favorites on this one, I would definitely have to go with You Can Lose Your Mind, Introspectrum, and Anything Is Everything. But I definitely still have a handful of memorable moments to recommend, including tracks like The Winter Moon, Breath of Fresh, Appearing Live, Traction, Southside Myth, Evidence of Things Not Seen, I Wouldn't Want You to Die Uninformed, Armor, He Who Dies with the Most Toys, Headphone Static, Decompression Chamber, and Tenfold. Thank you for watching my 358th video. Next time we have an act that's much less underground than some of the ones we've been covering recently, so look out for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what moments you fucked with the most off this underground gem. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.